Good morning. Well, I'm stuck. It's not unusual for a train to just stop and remain stopped for a long time. So it reminds me of what Jesus said just before he was to return to his Father, that in a little while you'll see me no more. In a little while I'll return to my Father, to my home. And the same thing is for me. In a little while, I hope I'll be able to return home. Today's gospel from St. John, from chapter 16, verses 23 through 28, a particular line in the gospel reading gave me pause for reflection. In fact, it took me back to 1980, thereabouts, in a conversation that I had with my spiritual director. Because as mentioned in the gospel, Jesus said to his disciples, shortly before he was going to return home to his Father, that whatever you ask in my name, my Father will grant you. Well, I struggled with that because for so long I would ask for this and that, which I still do, but so often those particular requests and prayers were not answered. My spiritual director clarified things for me. He said, my Jesus was challenging his disciples before he was to leave the earth. Challenge them that it's all about union in God. And when saying to pray to the Father in Jesus' name, he wasn't talking about earthly requests and desires. He was actually saying that at the heart of every request and desire is ultimately the desire to be loved by God, to embrace God's love, to embrace a deeper union with God. For example, during this pandemic, my prayer request, gracious God, let us end this pandemic. Let us help all of those who are impacted in whatever way. Well, what I'm really asking is my desire to be loved by God. And in my desire to be loved by God is then to know God's desire for me, so that in that petition, that request, God's desire is for me to be compassionate, to be empathetic. I can't create a vaccine. I'd love to be able to do it. But what I can do is to be compassionate and to be kind and to be generous, because that's what God desires for me, for us. And in doing so, in these requests, ultimately, it's our desire to be loved by God, to be in union with God. Well, take it for what it's worth. Spiritual direction is extremely important. So I encourage you to make use of our spiritual directors on staff. Sister Kathy, you've been experiencing her devotions. Teresa, she is also a spiritual director. I can help as well. And or lead you to other directors who will help you to see that in your request petitions to God is ultimately your desire to be loved by God and to know God's desire for you. Today we continue in our second day of our novena, Pentecost novena. So I encourage you to click on and to pray and to listen to the beautiful music and reflection. And also this coming Saturday, a week from today, Teresa will offer a 3-hour retreat. All of these experiences deepen us in our union with God and ultimately our union with one another. May we remember on this Memorial Day weekend all of our sisters and brothers who have died to give us peace, to make the world a safer and better place. Saint Mary Magdalene, pray for us.